Hi, welcome to my video on do I use post-processing on my images? Yes, I do. I don't think I would get away with my images straight out of the can, as it were, straight out the camera. So I do apply post-processing, and I've had comments over time, regarding this, a few of which I'll put on the screen now. So I thought what would be interesting is to just knock this video together and show you how I apply post-processing to my images. To the most part, it might just be sharpening an image, but there are a number of factors. Just got to get them up here so I can remember them off the top of my head. I've got 8 factors that I initially always think of when I'm doing post-processing. So first of all, I will test for haze removal. Haze removal is a tool that will remove contrast and brightness. So it kind of does the adjustment of the contrast and brightness, but it's almost like applying a polarizer filter too. So if you've got a blue sky, haze removal will enhance the blue sky. But I'll show you that as we go through. So I do haze removal, I do sharpness because I can't trust my eyes through the lens, and more often than not, I haven't focused properly. I look for cleaning up any blemishes on my images, and that's because I might have some flecks of dust on a sensor, which reminds me to get the sensor cleaned. Once I've got those things out of the way, I look at the image and I think, do I need to consider dodge and burn? Have I got an overexposed area and an underexposed area? Can I use dodge and burn to kind of level it out? The next step then is adjusting contrast and brightness. I'm not one for using curves and all of that kind of stuff, and I'll explain that in a moment. I then might consider saturation. Do I need to enhance the colours? Do I need to bring the saturation up? Once all of those are out of the way, I will consider any other adjustments once the final image, I'm looking at it. And then finally, I'll export the image and then I'll re-import it into Tpoaz DeNoise AI, just to see if I can remove any images. So what I'm going to do is have a screen capture of what's going on. I've got 4 images that I want to look at. Here are my 4 images. I've got a seaside scene. I've got a countryside scene. I've got a country lane scene. And I've got another panorama. This is of the White Cliffs of Dover, but looking at them from Folkestone. So let's go to Google. Let me just type this in so that we can get an explanation. I use Affinity Photo. I don't use Lightroom. And I'm adverse, is that the word, to using software that I have to pay a subscription to. I've said this in a previous video. I use Affinity Photo because I bought it outright. I paid for the license. It's my bit of software. I don't have to do a monthly subscription. Besides that, because I don't fully understand how to fly any of this post-processing software, I begrudgingly would pay a subscription knowing that I only use 10% of the software's capability. So Affinity Photo paying outright enabled me to do that. Now Affinity has this haze removal, and it says it can remove slight to extreme cases of haze affecting an image. Its most typical use is for landscape photography where the haze causes low contrast and low saturation. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. So let's get up. I'm hoping this is recording. I think it is. This is Affinity Photo. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to work on image number 1. So I'll just bring it in. I could do file open. I'm not going to give you how to use it. You've got the common sense. So here's my image. So what's that first thing I want to do? Test for haze removal. So I get my haze removal filter going. It's going to enhance the sky, if nothing else. And this is a really good tool for me because it actually highlights any blemishes that are in my image as well. So there it is. I can adjust the strength, really bring out that blue sky. I think that's just over the top though. I like the blues though, it's a very Simpsons kind of sky. Do I need to adjust the exposure? It's kind of alright, isn't it? And the distance, you can see what it's doing. But I just use the sliders and get kind of the image looking how I'm happy with it before I do any other adjustments. So I'll click apply on that. The next thing I need to do is get my in-painting brush. I can do healing, patch, blemish, but I'm using in-painting. And I'll use my control and wheel mouse to zoom in. You can see it's got quite a bit of grain in this, even though I was shooting at ISO 100 on the day. Anyway, blemishes. As I move the screen, I can see those blemishes. There's one here. So I'll just start in-painting it. It gets rid of the blemish. Look at that. I'll use the right bracket key to increase the size. I could come up here and just adjust the width, but it's a lot easier just to use the keyboard. So I'm going to go across the sky here and just touch up any blemishes that are from dust on the sensor. Sometimes the clouds can disguise it and sometimes it really doesn't matter. Zoom out a little. Of course, I can use the in-painting brush to hide other things like birds if I don't want birds in my image, or aeroplanes. Look, there's an aeroplane. I don't want the aeroplane. Pop, that's gone. We could leave the aeroplane in, you know. There's a blemish. Look at that. That's awful. I'll get rid of that. I know that there are 3 blemishes currently on my sensor, and so getting rid of them is just ideal. Once I get down to, there's a bird there, there's a bird up there, don't want that one. That might have been too big for the pixels there, left a circle. Yeah, so back down to the horizon, no more blemishes that I can see. Maybe that was one. I will use Control 0 to put the image back as fit to screen. Next thing I'm going to do is sharpen it. So I come up here and get my unsharpen mask tool, and I'll push it to a 2 pixel radius. Can't really see the difference, but I know that that's sharpened the image, and it'll get even sharper when I use Tpoaz DI. So I might think about contrast and brightness. Let's just see if I can adjust anything. I can bring up the highlights, but then it overexposes. Contrast. James Pops's type of image. I don't like that. Under contrasty. I want to say underexposed, but so I've increased the brightness a little. That's about it for that image. I'm quite happy. Now I would consider any other adjustments, and this will be things like, do I need to clone out something or use the in-paint brush like these people here? So I'll do it as an example just to show you. Just pop the clean up, get rid of those 4 people, and they're gone. But you know what? I could have an empty beach. The in-painting brush is good. You've seen it on adverts for Google Pixel and things like that. But I'm going to leave all of them in. So Control Z just to undo everything there. That's good. So let's export that image. Quite happy with that. We'll do a comparison afterwards. So I'm selecting a different folder. I'll call it the file name of the folder. That's exporting all of those. I could have done a non-destructive layer, which I'll show you in another image. But I'm not making any changes to the original, so I kind of don't really need it. Dragging the next one in. This is the non-destructive. I can duplicate layer. Where are you? I thought I could duplicate it just by right-clicking. Duplicate. So now I've got a duplicate layer. I can apply all the adjustments to this layer, and that's probably more important if I'm doing some blending and that kind of stuff, but I'm not. I'm just my 4 images. So first things first, get the haze removal. It's going to enhance the sky, which I'm quite pleased with because it'll help me see my blemishes. Use my slider And this will really enhance that sky, like I've got a polarizer on it. I like the blueness and I like the greens. It makes it look like a summer's day on, a country field. It's not a summer's day because it was taken in spring. So I'm looking for my blemishes. I can see them just crowding in here. There's one. There's one. Shout if you see a blemish that I miss. Oh, I've got a plane up there. Don't want a plane in my shot. Drag that down. I could just run it across here like this, but I might miss the blemishes if I do that. I really must get my sensor cleaned. Couple there. Because I took this as a pano, I'm going to get a duplicate number of blemishes because they will appear from both shots in the same frame. I think that's got them all. I'm not too fussed. I'm not being precise here because I just want to show you the processes I go through. But if I was going to be precise, I would take my time here. But we don't want a 50-minute video that could just as well be done with 15. So next I'm going to sharpen it, get my 2 pixels radius up for the live unsharpened mask. It doesn't really do a lot visually, but it is enhancing the detail. When I zoom in, you really can see how unfocused it is. Dodge and burn. Yeah, I'm thinking I might be able to dodge the field here. You can see that the tool highlights and brightens up inside the circle. 2 ways I could do this. I could use my marching ants to select and then just highlight, but I've just scooped it. Let me just explain what I mean. If I do my selection tool, again, very rough, I could just select this. I'm being very rough here. I could then get my dodge tool, really increase that. It will now only dodge within the selected area. So I can do it that way. Kind of still works, doesn't it? Can I burn the sky, make it darker? This is extreme. It was night and day. Undo. I don't want to do that. I don't want any burning. So that's technically it for that image. Any other considerations? Anything needs dodging out? I could be pedantic and get rid of these bushes here. I could tidy up the field because that looks a bit messy. It depends on the image. And I don't sell my images, do I? But I could clean up all these rocks that are sitting in the field here. I could spend hours doing that kind of stuff. I seem to have moved my image from the frame area. Now I'll have to trim that. Just knowing what you're doing with the software, isn't it? I kind of like that. It now needs denoising, so we'll just save this. We're getting through them. Save that as 08. So I've cleaned up the blemishes. I've used the haze removal. I've used the dodging on that field just to bring out the greens. I don't need to save that. Next one, country lane. Right, I think I'm just instantly looking at it. I don't need to worry about the haze removal because all my blemishes, and that's what I use it for normally, all my images, all my blemishes are hidden by the tree. But I can adjust the contrast and the brightness just by using the sliders here. Ever so slight, but that'll work. Sharpen it up. I just know by default that this is what I do with my images. Brightness. I'm going to do some dodging and burning here. Adjust that. This whole area here, to me, is too bright. So I need to burn in that area just to stop the exposure being blown out. That's better, because I can adjust the whole image. That was too much. Let's start again. I did it wrong. That's good. I feel like I'm Tony Hart on Take Heart or Vision on. I was going to say Rolf Harris, but yeah, we don't talk about that. It's like, this is the artistic part of photography, and I love this. I love the post-processing. I love the cleaning up of an image, cropping, sharpening, focusing on little elements. I now need to do some dodging in the tree area here. Let's increase the size of that. See how that brings out the ivy just on the tree there. Don't need to do any more of this. That kind of looks good. Let's have a look at, I've done brightness and contrast. Should I have some saturation? Shall I bring in some saturation? I could adjust colours, but look at that, richer greens. Very nice. An inviting country lane to go for a walk. Let's just drop that for a second. I'll do selective colour enhancement, and I can enhance the cyan colours. See what it's doing. Cyan, magenta, CMYB, is that what they call it? I did used to work for Pantone. Don't want that. I'm just going to do the saturation. I'm very quick with this. It doesn't usually take me very long. I kind of lean back and think, yeah, that looks good. Cleaning it up. Is there anything to clean up with my in-painting brush? Well, there's a couple of things, just a couple of things. I'm not really happy with this straight twig, so I'm going to, why is that not, oh, it is doing it. I'm going to just see what the in-painting can do for me. Perfect, got rid of that. Now I'm going to be pedantic. I've got this twig here, got this blade of grass there, I've got this twig here, maybe get rid of these three here. In the big scheme of things, I don't think it makes a difference, because when I zoom out, you'll hardly notice it, but by taking them away, it does remove the distraction, for me anyway. See, you can't see them now. I was thinking about these ones on the right, but they're all part of this whole mess. However, look, I've got rubbish in the field, in the undergrowth. So I'm just going to clone out that rubbish, see what it does. No, it's too stupid. It got rid of the bush, didn't it? So I have to be precise there. It's so far away you wouldn't notice it anyway. Right, that's my country lane. Export that. Oh, what one was this? Number 10. Export. I clicked 08, didn't I? So of course it chose that file name. Exporting with all my changes. Didn't apply a non-destructive layer. By the way, if you all know how to use this software, I'm pretty sure you'll drop comments. Tudor, that's a great way of doing it. However, have you thought of this? And that's the way I'd appreciate it, rather than, oh, you clown, you're doing it wrong. If only you'd done it this way. Many ways to skin a cat, right? And as you see, it's working for me. It might be a long step. It might be, 3 or 4 clicks more than is needed, but it's working. Okay, so I've got my pano of the sea. It was choppy that day. I'll use the haze removal. This should bring out the greens. Yeah, look at that. That's fabulous. Not sure about the strength of it, but look at the sky. I want the clouds. Too much exposure there. Another Simpsons sky, isn't it? The Simpsons. Right, I've got to get my in-painting brush. You know me now. I've got blemishes. Where are you, blemishes? Quick scout. Now, the beauty here is that the clouds have all got their own dark and light areas. So if I have a blemish on there, it's not going to pick it up. So if you're thinking about using post-processing and you haven't done it before, perhaps open something, get an image in and start playing with the tools that are available to you, and then start thinking about the process you yourself will begin to apply. And by that I'm talking, will your image need sharpening? Will you need to adjust the, I see a blemish there. Will you need to adjust the brightness and contrast? That's the blue sky. Right, I'm happy with that. I need to sharpen it. And then once you've got those things in your brain, as I've got now, you'll just fly through it. It's really easy. Right, I'm going to do brightness and contrast just to see what it does. Can I brighten it up a little? James pops this. No thanks. I prefer definition. Okay, all of that out the way. Saturation, I think that's the last one here. Do I need to? I think it's already saturated enough, just without even applying any. Maybe a tiny bit. Page removal did some for me. What will I need to remove that is distracting to the viewer's eye? Not that this is a great image. There's a rock there, but that's part of the structure, so I'm not going to take that. But I was wondering about this. We've got a telecom tower right in the image. Is that a good thing? Let's see. Let's do an in-painting. Select the image, not the applied layer. Gone. So without, with, without, with. Do I want to keep it in? It's part of the landscape, isn't it? But I'm going to take it out. Just because I just want the cliffs. Right, we'll export that. So we're nearly finished. I've done all the processing that I want on my images. Next thing I need to do is just take some denoise to it. I think there is a filter here, but I don't really trust the denoise. Noise, diffuse, denoise. It's all of this luminous, it's sliders that I've got to learn, and I can't see the effects instantly, so I don't use that. What I do use is Tpoaz DeNoise AI, another bit of software that I paid for the license. And so all I have to do is drag the image in, and it gives me 4 options. I can have standard, clear, low light or severe, and I can adjust things within this. I can also view all 4 options. So if I situate it there, see how it's sharpened with standard. Clear is giving me kind of double exposure. Low light's not doing a lot. Severe noise is quite good. So let's go up to the top sky here just to look at the noise. Look at that, removes it. It's fabulous. I think I'm going with standard. So I'll double click standard. Let's pull it down here just so that we can get what standard's doing. And it's doing something funky with the sand or the pebbles. Bearing in mind that I'm really cropped in with this, we'll see the difference when I process the image. Okay, so that's done. I had an issue there because I was working on the originals and not the edited files. Silly me. So, just giving you a look on the screen. So now on the screen, using my little wipe circle thing, image 1, unedited, then we do the edit, then we do the denoise. That completes image 1, and I'm happy with that. Image 2, the field with the country lane, original, edited. Once we've edited it, we've got the denoise. It just makes a slight difference. That just looks good. Then image 3, unedited. Then edited. And then finally applying denoise. Hardly noticeable in this scene, but as a matter of course and for completeness, adding the denoise. Finally, the pano of the White Cliffs, unedited. Then we apply the edits, and then I apply the denoise, which actually sharpens it just a tad. And I like the denoise because when I've put my calendar together, and then all my images are up here, then they look so professional. And why would they not, right? I'm a decent enough photographer. I can take good images that can go on a calendar. We are in March, by the way. I didn't give these out to family this year, so I actually have 3 calendars. So if you're up for these, drop me a comment in my Instagram account with your details. First 3 get a calendar, albeit we're already in March, but still got another 9 months to go. This is a full A4 size. I don't know why I didn't give them to family, but I kind of felt that they were like, Dad, not again. That may not have been the case, but as it is. Oh, and by the way, caveat, 1 or 2 of them may have cat prints on them because it sat on the desk and the cat jumped up. Anyway, that's the calendar. So there you go. That's how I do my post-processing. It's a big part of my image creation. You know, I'll do the video. I'll go out into the street, into the field, wherever I go, take the pictures. I'll then do a video using Power Director. Maybe that's for another video. But part of it is that I also have to put in the images. And to do that, I have to process them. And I save all my images. I've got an external hard drive. So when it comes to creating things like the calendar, I have a vast selection of images that I can choose depending on the theme. And I've often wondered, should you do a street photography calendar? Which is a bit kind of, why would you do that? But abstracts, sort of elements of things or, countries, what do you call it? Landscapes. Getting tired now. Got up at 5 this morning. So there you go. As requested, a video on how I do my post-processing. I have a funny feeling that if you do post-processing, you probably do it differently. And I would welcome some hints and tips. I'm in a routine now. I know how I like to do my post-processing, but it may well be that, just adjusting that, it may well be that there might be a sweeter way to do things. And I know, Trevor, you send me stuff. You've sent me a macro for Affinity Photo, which I apologise, I haven't downloaded off Facebook Messenger yet, but I will do, and I'll give it a try. And I think it's to do processing of black and white, isn't it? Might be worth looking into. So I'm not dismissing Lightroom. If you use Lightroom, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic bit of kit. I just didn't get my head round how it worked when I had the Lights freebie version. And then when I thought, well, I need to enhance this and the skill, I thought I would get, the license. I would buy it, but it turned out you could only buy the license for a monthly subscription, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So Affinity Photo came to mind, and I used that. It's a good bit of kit. So there you go. No midweek roll this week. Instead, a video on how I do my post-processing. Hope that was enjoyable and you got something from it. I will see you at the weekend. I've got another video coming out. I went out and I was in a good mood. Bye for now. See you in the next one.